Hey horror fans, welcome back to Room 237, coming at you with another review. And I got this movie for Christmas, and I figured people are going to ask me about it sooner or later. Plus, it's something I've wanted to check out for a while, so my girlfriend got it for me. Came out this year, and that is 3 from Hell, the latest from Rob Zombie. Now, I do have a playlist of Rob Zombie films on here. The only one I haven't done at this point would be Lords of Salem. I saw it back when it first came out. I would say that's his most mature film, even though I don't remember much. Now, I remember when this came out, it was talked about last year. I remember Rob Zombie announced doing a Devil's Rejects sequel, returning to the Firefly clan. And then out of nowhere, it was already done. It had a very short premiere, I think one night or a weekend, and then it came out on DVD like right away. This does continue the story of Devil's Rejects. In fact, it picks up right where it left off. Of course, the 3 on the cover is not the 3 you would expect because, sadly, well into shooting, Zombie had to shorten the role of Captain Spaulding due to the failing health of Sid Haig, who was also in a car accident around this time. And sadly, shortly after the premiere, Sid Haig passed away. He was in his 80s. I believe he was like 82 or late 70s. So he's really only in one scene, and it was the scene that was in the trailer. But he did fine with it. Instead, they threw in this half-brother named Foxy Coltrane, played by Richard Brake. And Richard Brake was one of the reasons why I wanted to see this, because if you follow my zombie playlist, you'll see I'm not the biggest fan of Rob Zombie. I have a lot of respect for the man as a person, as a musician. I feel like he's got a lot of knowledge about cinema and horror. He has these zombieisms that he just won't get away from. The closest would be like the Halloween films, but he's always 70s, Deep South, crazy hillbillies, really obnoxious, X-rated, shit, fur, pussy, cunt, we're gonna fuck you in the skull, fuck, piss, shit, gonna fucking skull, fuck you, bitch, motherfucker, fuck, shit, dialogue, recycled actors, similar to the way Universal did, and horror cameos. With this, though, I would say 31 is the most Rob Zombie movie, but that still is my favorite. And the shining light of 31 was Richard Brake as Doomhead. Greatest character Rob Zombie's ever written. Greatest performance in any of his films. He's really downplayed in this. He's kind of playing a buffoon. He kind of reminded me of Tom Tolles from Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Now, of course, the shootout in 1978 at the end of Rejects. The 3 rejects lived. There was a lengthy trial, sent to prison. Then we jumped 10 years. And the whole opening of the trial in prison was very heavily inspired. Rob Zombie even said this in the special features, that it was inspired and sort of based on a Manson family documentary. And I've always said Otis is Charles Manson. In the first movie, it's his philosophies. And then from here on, it's his philosophies and his look. I'm really surprised they didn't give him a swastika or some sort of tattoo on the forehead. One thing I wasn't excited for was Sherri Moon as Baby. I know she has a fan base, and I know I'm going to catch hell for this, but Baby, I think, is one of the most annoying characters in horror. Whether it be her laugh, just her little things like Devil's Rejects, like Chinese, Japanese, that whole bit she does. I would say here, it does feel like she's actually doing something with her performance. Even though she's completely fucking insane and on a different planet the whole time. And, you know, Sid Haig's little interview is very Manson-esque. Very this introspective, almost poetic kind of, you know, a philosophy. That sounds very Manson. And Rob Zombie did say the sequels that don't work are the sequels that show you what you think the fans want. The same thing as the last film. So we wanted to go different. The first half of this movie is basically the Devil's Rejects. I mean, you get this guy busted this guy out of prison. It's like a work detail off-site. Breaks him out. They hold up, and the warden, played by Jeff Daniel Phillips, who was the Rob Zombie character of 31, you know, the handlebars, the glasses. He plays the warden. They hold up in his house with his wife, a colleague and his wife, and they do the same Devil's Reject shit. Not necessarily, you know, sort of like the Banjo Hotel in Rejects. Maybe not as extreme. It doesn't feel like he's trying too hard in this to be disturbing. This one seems like, okay, they're just having fun with these hillbillies. These psycho hillbillies. It does feel rushed. It feels very rushed. Another thing that's annoying with Rob Zombie is when he shows the kills or when there's any sort of action, he goes into this like shaky cam or like a freeze frame. You can't really tell what's going on. Like there's this guard played by Dee Wallace, you know, legendary scream queen. Baby busts her nose, so she takes Baby down to this room where these two bigger women who I guess are really violent. They're supposed to fuck her up, and you hear slicing, you hear laughing, you hear yelling, but you can't see any of it. Turns out Baby killed them. The scene that was in the trailer when Baby's wearing a guard's uniform chasing a woman. I liked how that was done, but it also brought me back to 1,000 Corpses. Because when the sheriff and the deputy get killed at the Firefly house, there's a Slim Whitman song playing. And they play another one during this slow motion chase. So that kind of brought me back. And that's another thing. It takes place in 88. It might as well be the 70s. The clothes, the aesthetic, the music is all 70s. Once they all reconvene, they decide, or Baby decides to go to Mexico, hide out. And so they do, but you find out this guy, Danny Trejo, that Otis killed while in prison, was the father of a Mexican mob boss. The hotel guy sells them out. You get this big cat and mouse with this, they call themselves the Black Satans or the Red Satans. They wear like black on red luchador masks. He wears red on black. And I mean, they have guns, but she's got a bow and arrow, and they go around killing each other. But they play Inagata Devita, which is a song I've always loved, even if it is a hippie song. That's orchestrated well. And, you know, it has the ending of them sort of walking off into the sunset, or as much as they can. So, I mean, it basically is the Devil's Rejects, but I would say the third act is very different. I will say the annoying, profane dialogue isn't as abundant in this. I mean, they do say, like, they call each other a motherfucker a lot, almost like a Tarantino movie. But it's not like 31 or other movies. Like, I'm gonna fucking smear shit in your puss, and I'm gonna cock in my dick, and you fucking your suck. They don't do all that shit. But you got cameos by Clint Howard, Danny Trejo, Dee Wallace, There was actually quite a bit. Not as many as like a Halloween movie, which I was surprised. I would say I liked this more than Devil's Rejects. It did have, you know, it did have CGI, not as much as Devil's Rejects, but you do get some good blood. Like, they come across these hunters, and Otis takes, it's like a guy and his wife. Otis takes the woman's machete, cuts her face off, and I mean, makeup looks really good. There was other people I wanted to mention, but I can't remember who it was. It's not that I was disappointed in Richard Brake. It's just he didn't have that wonderful performance, almost Joker-esque, psycho. I mean, he was basically doing just a hillbilly again, along with these guys. Zombie did promise that Otis was going to be worse than ever. In a way, he kind of was. Definitely see the Manson inspirations, especially in the beginning. The beginning also kind of reminded me of like Natural Born Killers, like the trial and everything, which even that was very heavily based on Manson. But yeah, Baby's performance was toned down a lot. She's not as skippy and jumpy and high-pitched and laughy. She is, like, you can tell her mental state's deteriorating, because as the movie goes on, even when she's talking normally, she's like, I know what we got to do. You know, she just almost acting like a child. But I gotta commend Sherri Moon for actually doing something with the character. Yeah, even with the title and the look of the film, it had a grindhouse feel, which I appreciated. I don't know if Zombie's going for like a guerrilla style filmmaking or what, but the shaky cam and freeze frame is really, you know, sucks the meat out of the scene, I think. You know, it's almost like a Stephen C. Miller movie. And that's an insult because Stephen C. Miller's a fucking hack. But I could say this movie was definitely worth checking out. I mean, it's been 14 years since we've seen these characters. I've always said Devil's Rejects is a little overrated. I still stand by that. But they're still popular characters. I mean, it's the same thing as returning to like a Halloween movie or a Friday the 13th movie. You know, you want to see what these characters are up to. And I would put this up there with 31 and House of a Thousand Corpses as one of the better movies. I'd have to see Lords of Salem again to do a fair review, because I don't remember much, but I remember it being more mature and ambitious. That's the only one I don't have at this point. I don't think there's going to be another one. I don't think Zombie would attempt it with no more Spaulding. And, you know, it does say what happens to his character. They do pay homage and tribute to him. And you can even tell in this scene, he doesn't look good. You can tell he's really weak and sick and old. And, you know, old friends with Zombie. So I know it was hard for Zombie also to trim down his character and really sort of write him out of the film in a way. And then he passed away shortly after the premiere, which is very sad. But like other Rob Zombie movies, there's not much to talk about. It's a simple story with all the zombie-isms you would expect, but it does feel like he's letting up a little bit. You know, like, he kind of got it out of, like, Lords of Salem was very mature, so he had, like, this Rob Zombie nut built up, so he did 31, he released, and now he's kind of relaxed a bit. But I'm eager to see what Zombie will do next. There's always something in his movies that keeps me interested. I always want to see what his next movie is and what it's about. So 3 from Hell was actually better than I expected. even though it had the shaky cam and the freeze frame, more technical issues than it is just writing characters and setting like other films. I did like, you know, the Slim Whitman chase scene, the Inagata-Devita sequence. There's always pros with the cons, and I could actually say I enjoyed 3 from Hell. But anyway, stay tuned because I got a bunch of stuff. I got a bunch of stuff for Christmas. I'm gonna be doing a Christmas haul video probably this weekend. And last I checked, I'm at 195 subs, so Q&A will be coming up soon. So stay tuned for that. But anyway, thank you for watching.